Welcome to the Vault Excel. Hope y'all have had a wonderful week. Please check my community board for said updates to breaking news, updates to current stories I've covered, and polls. I'm going to bring you a few updates and I'm going to get right into the content. Thank you for joining me. New York Post is the source of this latest crazy nonsense pertaining to Ron Anderson, Gypsy Rose, and Ken Urkel. The 33-year-old filed for divorce from Anderson in April confirmed that she took a pre-birth paternity test this week to prove the father of her unborn child is her current boyfriend, Ken Urkel, People reports. And this article was uploaded October 30th, which was yesterday. The move prompted Anderson to take to social media to weigh in on his ex's decision, telling his 717,000 TikTok followers that he had no doubts about Urkel being the baby's father. Oh, Lord. I never once questioned who the baby daddy was, Anderson said in a TikTok video Tuesday. I never once said I'm going to make a fuss about it or I'm going to prevent this or do that. I've never said anything like that. I've always said, guys, it's not my baby, quote unquote. Anderson, a Louisiana middle school special education teacher, said it's sad he found out that Blanchard was getting tests through online outlets and thinks the couple is just trying to cash in. I'm not going to read further. If you want to go online to see what he said, didn't say, it's up to you. Where I have the problem is the obvious. There comes a point in life when we must move on from foolishness. And who better to give this advice than Queen? It's been 7.5 months since allegedly they parted ways, which would have been in March, allegedly. You're entitled to believe when this one left or that one left. The point is they're not together. She's pregnant with another man's baby. As far as I know, they're still not divorced. Although I Google and it says they're divorced, but yet when you do the bio on it, it shows that they're just separated. So legally, they're still divorced. Don't think they're going to reconcile. Don't know who still has feelings for whom. But this is my advice to Ryan Anderson. I wouldn't give a damn what Gypsy Rose is talking about. She could talk about she painted her toenails black and one side red. I wouldn't care. And I wouldn't comment on it. Only because you're quite a ways into being not in her peripheral, not in her bed. She's not in yours. So I wouldn't care what she talked about. I wouldn't care what she said. And frankly, I'm trying to understand why are you two still legally married? My last understanding is that you all had to wrap up some business about documents you all signed for future projects. And divvying up, I guess, the monies pertaining to the TV show, documentaries, or whatever. So I would try to speed that along best possible and get the hell on. I wouldn't talk about her at this juncture. Now, maybe he still has feelings for her. He don't really want to admit it, or he has admitted it recently. I don't know how to follow his content, but I would move on. I would quit talking about her. So whatever she wants to talk about to the public pertaining to anything, I don't care what it's about. The baby, Pookie, Ray Ray, a fucking Billy Goat. I wouldn't care, and I wouldn't indulge in nothing she had going on. See, the time Ryan sits up oohing and on with his fans about her and Ken, and he's thinking Ken's behind this or that, you're giving these people leverage, and you're giving them leverage they don't deserve. This woman left you high and dry. As soon as she got in your peripheral, she was not even with you, 3 months? She was already with another man. She lied and said they weren't sleeping together. They weren't doing this. They weren't doing that. Next thing we know, she's pregnant. So we already know they have had sex. Now, was this a plan for her to use you, then jump out? I don't know. But we know that when people are locked up, they will say and do anything, and your mind plays tricks on you when you're incarcerated. It's almost like when you're free, because your mind will tell you anything. I love him. He loves me. I like him, whatever. But the true test is being free. Everybody knows that. Being locked up, it's a matter of survival. So maybe she thought she cared for him. Maybe he thought he cared for her. And my thing is, you only know what people tell you and what they show you. That's all you got to go on. But one thing I do know is your word is bond. And if your word ain't bond, you ain't hitting on nothing. Because if you can't be believed, nobody can believe what you're saying, then who are you dealing with? And actions most definitely tell you who you're dealing with. And I won't doubt that this relationship probably won't work with Ken, because it's been stated allegedly that he felt like they moved too soon as far as having a child. Well, you should have known better. She's married. For one, like I said, everybody makes mistakes. But she's a married woman still, and you jumped in bed with a married woman, not even thinking she might regret having sex with you or tangling up with you. You two don't get along, then she'd run back to Ryan if he took her back, and more than likely he probably would have taken her back because he loves her, probably still loves her. All of you all have been playing a dangerous game with one another, but that's their journey. But my advice to Ryan is to stop talking about her. Whatever she wants to reveal to the news outlets, I would not care. I wouldn't indulge. I wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't go on my live streams, TikTok, IG, talking about her. You'll probably lose some fans because all they want to do is still talk about Gypsy Rose every damn day. But we already know as time goes by, stories get old, conversations get old about nonsense. And he'll realize who's really in his favor and who really likes him as Ryan Anderson. Because most people are probably just in the chat trying to see what he has to say about Gypsy Rose. But once he stops talking about her, he'll probably lose some followers. Well, good riddance is how I look at it. Next conversation, Sean Puffy Combs. It has been said by a New York judge that a woman who has brought forward allegations against him for sexual assault, she has to reveal herself or the case will be dismissed. As most of you know, his attorney has rallied that all parties suing him must reveal their government name. Now, I was thinking about this earlier. Could it be that Sean wants to know the names of these people so he could try to tamper with these witnesses, tamper with these victims, because he has been accused of doing this, and it was brought forward in the affidavit early in the year against him in the charging documents that he was tampering with witnesses, calling them, and God knows what else he's probably done before, getting this arrest, and who else he's probably used to call, talk to people, knock on doors, send emails, so on and so forth. Will he try to tamper with the witnesses and victims? Will he try to find somebody to pay them a visit, if you understand what I'm saying? Hopefully he won't. Hopefully none of his constituents, girlfriends, side pieces, sex partners, henchmen, henchwomen will go out seeking any of these victims and witnesses. Best thing to do is for everybody to stay in their damn lane. And frankly, Sean might just want to know it just to see, hell, how many people he's sexually assaulted, because he's a sadist, you see. So you really don't know which foot is leading the other. If it's to tamper with witnesses and or take a head count. Okay? Who's to say? Either way, it's a hot mess. Now, I didn't bring you a whole lot of information pertaining to this brawl between his sons and Ray J, but obviously Chris Brown allegedly stepped into a altercation in a parking lot after some type of Halloween party and broke up this brawl that was about to go down over something that Ray J said. I haven't been following his content. I don't follow him. The only times I watched him were when he was on News Nation, and I refuse to watch the last interviews because he talks in circles. He doesn't answer direct questions from Cuomo pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. So what's the point? So what did he say so offensive that these boys want to jump them? Don't know, don't care. Just bringing you the latest updates. This is how I feel about Ray J, and I've said it before. He is no better, different than Sean Puffy Combs. You're the same one who allegedly filmed yourself and Kim Kardashian having sex. So you're on the same level as Sean P. Diddy. It's all the same to me. So listening to you talk for or against Sean is a waste of time because you're not in any good space to be giving advice. And the fact that you can't answer direct questions on a live stream tells me everything I need to know, or shall I say live broadcast. So as I said before, what did he say offensive about Sean that these boys want to fight him. Number two, young men. Your father is already in a hot tub of water, not a pot, but a tub. And unless you want to join your father over there in New York or in some other facility, LA or wherever, I say you all need to sit y'all tails down somewhere, be quiet, and go live your best life. Because one or two of you all have been in, what's the word I'm looking for? Accused as well of improprieties of assaulting a woman on a yacht that belonged to your father. So therefore, the last thing I would be doing is going out here fighting some guy because I don't like something he has said on social media or a news broadcast. Best thing I should do is what? Be still. So you're making the situation worse for your father because people can weigh it one or two ways or both. Oh, he's using his kids to go out here and chase down witnesses or people that's making comments. See where I'm going with this? And frankly, Ray J's been the only one talking about Sean Puffy Combs publicly besides Suge Knight. And frankly, I don't see either one of you being good friends with Sean. I'm just saying. Because we see now there's really no loyalty anywhere. Now, is it? No, it's not. So unless you guys want to join your daddy in incarceration, leave folks alone. Grow up. As someone said in one of the articles in the comment section, you're going to be fighting a lot of people. Because you want to get angry at somebody saying something negative about your father. And I agree. And I commented, yes, a lot of bloody knees you're going to have. Busted lips, mouths, heads. Over what? Over your father liking to take the cookie and drug people? Come on now. That's what you want to go beat somebody up over if you win? And basically the person who was writing the commentary was acting like, oh, Ray J, he would have the upper hand. Who cares? Who cares who would have the upper hand? Who's got more powerful fists? The point is, I'm not getting ready to go chase down people talking about my father. When I believe most of those allegations, at least I'll say for Queen, that they're true. And whether you believe the allegations or not against your father, it's still a fool's way to go out here trying to fight people. Because I think deep down inside, you all know that he's done some of these things. You just don't want to admit it. And you don't have to admit it. Hello? You don't owe us an explanation about what you think of your father, if you believe the allegations or not. That's the very reason why you need to go on and live your best life. Stay out of trouble, keep your nose clean, and savor some type of life. Go work, go get a job. Because that's the next question. What do you guys do for a living? Do you actually get up and go to a damn job? Or are you living off the kindness of your father's pocketbook? And God forbid a judge decides to seize his estate, his royalties from music, seize all bank accounts. You all are in a world of trouble. And I'm assuming he's passed his baton over to somebody to delegate on his behalf. And that's also a dangerous game because you definitely can't trust people with your money when you are out of sight. Hello? You cannot. Next news coming out of Florida. It's crazy nonsense going on down there. One second. Something about a bomb, or devices rather. Got a notification. I'm going to read this to you. It says, explosive device investigation arrest press conference. I'm just going to give you the bio. Feel free to check it out on my community page, the said information. The Seminole Police Department and other Bay Area officials. Oh, no, this is it's California. Sorry. Give an update on the arrest made in explosive device investigation 1 month after 2 explosive devices were found at Seminole and Hard Rock, Tampa. Oh, so it is Florida. Sorry about that. When I think of the Bay Area, I think of California. So there has been an arrest made in an explosive device investigation. They have that man in custody. Very interesting information. Just bringing you that update as well. And also there was, as most of you know, a gunman that was shooting from a balcony in Atlanta, Georgia. He's in custody. As far as I know, only one officer was wounded. Do not know or have heard if there were any other casualties. And the name of the man who's been arrested in this Hard Rock bomb scare, his name is Brian Eckley. Let's get a little information about him.
Law enforcement announcing the arrest of a man accused of planting bombs at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino. Investigators say Brian Eckley placed 2 explosive devices inside men's restrooms on October 1st. The casino was evacuated twice while bomb squads disabled the devices. Eckley is now in the Hillsborough County Jail.
Why would you be putting bomb devices in men's restrooms? Who the hell does this? But that's probably a stupid question because people just do weird, crazy types of things. Very strange, very wicked. Lord have mercy. Now, 51 minutes ago, Young Thug, the rapper out of ATL, accepts a plea deal in the YSL RICO trial. Now, many people felt like there was going to be a mistrial with all these wranglings of violence against witnesses, so-called associates coming forward telling truths, half-truths, admitting to wrongdoing. They said most of the people who were involved in the RICO arrest, they all took plea deals. So now we have information that he has taken a plea as well. So let's try to see what he decided to do. It says accepting a non-negotiated plea deal after 3 of his fellow co-defendants took plea deals this week in the YSL RICO case. Thug was considered one of the co-founders of the alleged YSL gang. Lord have mercy. Let me see what they're saying. How much time he got?
Do you understand? Participation in criminal street gang activity, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, 3 counts, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a machine gun. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges, and that if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you will continue to receive a jury trial?
Yes.
And have you received this waiver of rights form that I hold in my hand from your attorney and reviewed it with your attorney?
Yes.
All right. And is this your signature on the bottom of this form?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorneys, Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams, about all of the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in indictment 22 SC 183572, including any potential defenses?
Yes.
Do you need additional time to discuss this case with your attorneys?
No.
Are you satisfied with their services?
Yes.
Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams, do you on behalf of Mr. Williams waive a formal reading of this indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh my God.
And do you, Mr. Williams, waive any and all defects in this indictment, including any with respect to your name?
Yes.
Have you been arrested on these charges?
Yes.
The state is unaware of any outstanding warrants related to these charges. Do you or your attorneys know of any outstanding warrants related to these charges? Outstanding warrants related to any of the charges in the indictment?
I hope not. No, I don't believe so.
Okay. And I'm unaware of any as well, Your Honor. I am as well. Thank you. Have your attorneys advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each of the crimes that you are charged with?
Yes.
And each of the charges that you are pleading guilty to?
Yes.
Jeez. Longest running trial in Georgia history.
To the charges that Mr. Williams faces, Count 1 carries a minimum charge of 5 years.
Wow.
And a maximum charge of 20 years in prison or up to a $25,000 fine or both.
Isn't it a $15,000 fine because wasn't it the version of the statute in effect at the time, or was that the same for RICO? Was RICO 25?
Yes, RICO.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just bringing you the rundown.
56 carries a minimum sentence of 5 years in prison, a maximum of 20 years in prison, consecutive to any other sentence, with a fine of $10,000 to $15,000 or both. Count 57 carries a minimum sentence of 5 years in prison and a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Count 58 carries a minimum sentence of 1 and a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Count 59 carries a sentence range of 5 to 30 years in prison. Count 60 carries a sentence range.
Wow.
All right, and that's for the amount of that drug that was found on 59, 5 to 30?
That's as a result of the charge itself, I believe, with intent to distribute.
I think that 59, Your Honor, is simple possession of cocaine. I have to look at the.
I'm going to stop there. Let me do some digging. Right. 1 second, please. Hope everybody's well. Because this is something I can't listen to court stuff any longer. It takes them too long to get to the point. You got to read 1,000 damn charges. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Hope everybody's well. Thank you for joining me today. This is a 2-part live pertaining to transgendered persons' crimes right here in the state of Tennessee and Minnesota. Thank you for joining me. I can't even pull it up. What is the difference? 1 second, everybody. Thank you for joining me. 1 second. Okay, thank you for joining me. Okay, back to Young Thug. Government name Jeffrey Williams has decided to plead guilty plea to this RICO nonsense. It says none of the 3 individuals who entered guilty pleas will be required to testify against the remaining co-defendants, including the main target of the case, Young Thug. This is a developing story, will be updated. It's really not telling me what I'm trying to find, because I'm trying to see what is the time limit. One guy by the last name of Ryan, Rodelius Ryan, he got a 10-year prison sentence, which was commuted to time served. Other counts of indictment, including armed robbery, were dropped as part of the agreement. He admitted guilt to multiple counts in indictment, including armed robbery. He was sentenced to a total of 25 years with 9 years in custody. 9 years on probation and 5 years suspended as part of the agreement. Marvius Nichols, known as Quab, accepted a plea deal Tuesday for count 1 of the indictment, conspiracy to violate the RICO Act. He received a negotiated sentence of 20 years with 7 years to be served in custody and the remaining years on probation. In exchange, multiple counts, including murder, were dismissed. And then we go back to the top pertaining to Mr. Young Thug. He entered a guilty plea in agreement that would end the Grammy-winning rapper's racketeering trial, longest running in Georgia history. He entered a non-negotiated guilty plea Thursday with the Fulton County District Attorney's Office to several charges, including firearm possession, participation in a criminal street gang, while he pleaded no contest to racketeering, leading a criminal street gang, sudden conclusion to a dramatic and tumultuous trial that included 3 different judges, jailhouse stabbing of a co-defendant, and alleged in-court drug transaction. Remember that a while back? He was charged in 2022 alongside more than 24 others under Georgia's Sprawling Racketeer Influence Corrupt Organizations Act, known as RICO. Defense attorneys have accused Williams of misusing the racketeering statute. Let's see. Prosecutors accused the rapper of a leading street gang that committed murder and a slew of violent crimes in Atlanta. Jury selection process took over a year. I don't see where they're saying how much time he's getting. So maybe they'll wait till sentencing. But anyway, that's the Young Thug update. Woo! That's what I was waiting for them to get to. They kept going on and on about the other stuff. Sorry, I'm going on and on. I'm already 26 minutes in. I haven't even started my content. Let's get down to business, everybody. Welcome to the Vault XL. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $McGangie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. And I just saw, I'm looking at Crime Network. They're doing an update pertaining to Harmony Montgomery. They've done a prime crime story on her. Very tragic end to a child's life. We're going to start with the case out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
The deadline is approaching for Americans who are...
Hold on one second. I don't think that's what I wanted to play.
And candles sit outside the Walker Library here on the MTSU campus. Good evening, I'm Kelsey Gibbs here in Murfreesboro. It was just a few days ago that students and staff learned that a student here died by suicide. Serenity Birdsong's memory will never be forgotten. And students say, for those who are struggling, you are not alone.
I'm feeling like, I'm still feeling very numb about it.
For now we stand.
The news is still so fresh. The eternal wounds still need time to heal. Middle Tennessee State University is a campus in mourning. But when there's pain, there's also healing.
I hope she feels loved.
These students are standing outside the Walker Library for Serenity Birdsong. Sadly, she's not here to experience this, but those who know her believes she would have loved it.
So I feel like this is a really good way to honor her, and I feel like she would have, if there is like some kind of afterlife, she would be very happy.
This vigil, this makeshift memorial, flowers, candles, and words of encouragement are for a young life gone too soon. It was Monday when students and staff learned Serenity died by suicide at the library. Campus closed down on Tuesday, giving everyone a chance to grieve. But today, they wanted to truly give Serenity her flowers.
I mean, I'm absolutely blown away by the number of people who have supported her.
Elizabeth Cannon Knight served with Serenity on MTSU's Lambda Association. It's the campus's only all-inclusive LGBTQIA+ and ally student association.
I would sometimes see her, in the dining hall, and I would sit with her sometimes, and we would just chat and have fun. And she was always very genuinely happy. And it hurts that, I learned that, maybe that was, a mask in some cases.
Elizabeth, like other students, realizing Serenity was hurting, a hurt they don't want other students to endure. So tonight, even in the darkness, they want everyone to know there is a light shining on a path you don't have to take alone.
There's always people that will support you unconditionally, no matter what.
In Murfreesboro, Kelsey Gibbs, News Channel 5.
MTSU, right up the road from the Queen, right outside of Nashville, Tennessee. If you're not familiar with the area. Okay? Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. The Middle Tennessee State University campus came together in solidarity to honor the life of 21-year-old Serenity Birdsong, who tragically died by suicide earlier in the week. News 5 is the source of that information. Terrible ending to a life. Terrible ending to a life. And many people are going to wonder why this person took their life. We're going to do a little background just on what was seen and heard on that fateful day at MTSU at the library. Thank you for joining me. Wow, wow, wow. Mercy, mercy me. WSMV.com is the source. Middle Tennessee State University Student Government Association held a vigil on Wednesday after a student died by suicide inside the campus library on Monday. The student was inside the library when the death occurred, shared a message for those struggling at the vigil. William Dawson said he spends hours in MTSU's library nearly every week and never imagined the building would become a place of such a tragedy. I was nearly heartbroken to see someone who I just wish they saw that there was still more time and there was still an opportunity to feel better, Dawson said. Dawson said he's been battling an almost indescribable feeling that he hasn't been able to shake since Monday afternoon when he and dozens of other students witnessed the student's death. There was a noise that wasn't immediately recognizable as what it was, and then we all kind of stood and eventually saw what was happening. Dawson said before you knew it, paramedics rushed in. He said 21-year-old Serenity Birdsong died of a suicide. MTSU student Generica, I don't know if this is pronouncing this right, Denarica Hubbard said she wasn't in the library that day and instead heard about what happened hours later. When I heard about what happened, I was initially very sad because being a member of the LGBT plus community, it really hurt me, Hubbard said. MTSU's SGA put together the vigil in hopes of sharing resources with as many students as possible. I think that this right here proves to all of us that she was loved too, even if she couldn't see it at the time, a friend of Birdsong said. Another friend added, Serenity may no longer be with us in person, but her memory, her laughter, her friendship, her love will forever be a part of who we are as a community. Flowers and signs lined the library entrance, while MTSU's president and student leaders shared messages with the crowd before singing and reminding students that the councils and other forms of help are available. Dawson said, we hope the vigil shared enough message that can save the life of someone else struggling. I think people should become more and more open to the idea of finding some kind of professional help when it comes to mental health, to realize that you don't need to become another tragedy and that there's so much opportunity to be happy, Dawson said. News 4 is the source. Serenity Birdsong, 21 years of age. Obviously, she was biologically a male and identified as a female. Why did this person unalive themselves in the library and just in general? Why the library? Why at all? What was she going through? What was going on in this person's mind? Had somebody said something, done something to the person? A joke, a prank, or just the identification process itself, trying to identify as a woman, but not biologically a woman. I would assume it would be a very harrowing situation to be in. You're wanting something so bad that you can't have. See, I don't know this person. I can't say what the person was going through, but you can look from appearances. The person is dressed up as a woman, but biologically a male. They took their own life in a public place. That has some significance too, I would assume, because as I said, it's already inner turmoil. Why do it in public? But we already know that's probably a sign they were lashing out. So I'll do it here where everyone can see. Makes me wonder if the person had some issues at the school, per se. Because when you think about unaliving oneself, you would think they would do it somewhere private, in their own house, their home, in a park, in the woods. You understand what I'm saying? Not in a public place. Not too many people unalive themselves in public. Because it's already a shameful act. And God is the only one that's supposed to choose life or death, especially for self. So why did this person unalive self to begin with, and then in a public place? And then you hear the eyewitnesses saying, try to identify the sound. Oh, you can best believe that somebody in that library knew exactly what that sound was. The gunshot is just what it is, a gunshot. If I don't believe that's the sound you're speaking of. So somebody in that library knew damn well what it was. And I can't imagine somebody not running. So did people run for cover? Run out the library? Holler, scream, look around? Sadly, I'm sure somebody pulled out their camera trying to watch people, trying to see what the hell was going on. Because you always have people who love to film. And then I'm also questioning that. Did somebody film the person after the fact? Because naturally you would know that the person was going to unalive themselves in the library to start filming the person. So where exactly did they unalive themselves in the library? Sitting at a computer desk, in an aisle where the books were, in a seating area? Just to really leave a note to tell someone why the act was exacted. What was going on in this person's life? Did they try counseling? Had they been in counseling? Were they in counseling? Thousands of questions you can ask. This is some very serious business, because when I was going in the queue to bring up this information this evening, there were tons of stories, as usual, in the YouTube queue in similarity to transgender situations, crimes. And it shows you how sad it is, life, whether it be transgendered or just a regular person unaliving themselves or homicide. Just the numerous stories that pop up. And you'll see that also when you go into Google. You search for one thing, then all these other stories come up that are similar to what you have put in the search engine. And they all seem to be the same. The ones that I've seen that deal with homicide, to branch off the subject briefly, somebody was upset that somebody didn't identify themselves in the beginning, allegedly. And that's easy for the perpetrator to say, of course, you know. But we'll get to a story similar to that here in a second. But why does Serenity unalive self? I'm assuming she identified as a she. It's hard for me to call a man a she, and that's just Queen. It's just very hard for me to call a man a she. So she identified as a woman. What was she going through? As I said, has she had some serious issues with people, persons? Has someone said or done something to her out of the way? Has she had an ongoing issue with a person, staff members, students, job? See, thousands of questions you can ask, because you got to know her to know what led her down this destitute, disturbing road. And that's a cruel thing to do to self, unalive self. Because you're telling the world you don't value yourself. You can be a low burden, low, feel low every day about yourself, about the world, but you don't kill yourself. Could wish you were never born, but you don't kill yourself. Wish you had a better life, better home, better car, better relationships, but you don't kill yourself. Might even thought about what would the world be like if I if I weren't here, what people mourn me. Do you ever think about that yourself? What people will say about you when you die? What the eulogy will say? Who will show up at the funeral? Who will cry, fall out, grab the caskets? I'm sure many of you probably have. That's natural. But do you want death by your own hand? That's the question. Many will probably say, no, I don't. Even in my worst moment of feeling horrible, I don't want to kill myself. And nor do I want to leave here early. And that's the thing about death. You don't know the hour. But imagine you decided to make the hour yourself. So you are telling God that he don't have a job. Come on with it, Quinn. He doesn't have a job because he's supposed to be the orchestrator of your existence, beginning and the end. And you decided to take that position from God. And I don't think he likes that. And obviously this person was going through something to end their life. But why? And why in such a public arena? Because that's scary as hell to want unalive self, but then do it in public where people can see and hear. And God forbid if they were sitting around people. Just imagine sitting at a long desk. People are sitting at a desk studying, reading, and the person just pulls out a weapon and unalives themselves sitting right there at a damn desk or a long table with a bunch of people sitting there. Nasty business. Where's this person from? Do they have brothers, sisters? Do they get along with their parents? Who raised them? How were they raised? Do they have accepting parents? Once again, were they dating someone? Were they trying to transition over and have a full sex change? See, you never know. And we've heard the horrible stories of trying to get the sex change. It's daunting, it's expensive, and it's also not quite rewarding. And I brought you content on that as well. Men who got the change but were utterly dissatisfied and were not content with the final results. I also brought you content of a young woman who was a male who done it and had lots of complications, bleeding, wounds rupturing, stitching. Because you see, it's a gamble, is it not? To go under the knife and not know what's going to happen to you, whether you are taking or having the surgery for something you need done. Now imagine you're going in messing with nature. Don't know if this was Serenity's journey, but we're going to throw it in there. You're going under the knife to change what God gave you. And I would say God would be quite displeased, would he not? Of course he would. You want to change what I gave you. I gave you that. I gave you that penis. I gave you that vagina. I wanted to stay there. I made it and this to go here, to go there for a reason. Queen ain't got to explain it to you. We all grown. But never did I tell you I wanted you to change it. Remove it. Tuck it. I didn't tell you to do that. It's really blasphemy to some point, is it not? Some of you may believe in the Bible, some of you don't, some of you believe in God, don't. This is Queen's testimony. My thoughts. It's blasphemy. But you're telling God, I don't like what you made me, what you gave me. Come on with it, Queen. You gave me something that's useless. Woo! Have mercy. You gave me a useless penis. But I don't feel worthy of having it. I don't want it. But sweet Jesus, only if you knew, because you're blinded by what your mind is telling you, you do need it, whether you want it or not. Same thing with a woman in a vagina. She wants to be a man. You can't grow a penis from a vagina. Come on with it, Queen. Because somebody needs to hear this today. What did I tell you about the mind? It's fragile. She or he, whatever you want to call your mind, your brain, it will tell you anything, will it not? You can fly. You're invincible, untouchable. You're the bomb. You're not the bomb. You're not so great. And they can split into little friends. They call it schizophrenia. And now we've got different people dancing in our head, telling us all types of not so nice things to do and to say, if you understand what I'm saying. So now imagine a little person is in that head telling you, you don't need that penis. You don't need that vagina. It's ugly. It's nasty. Do away with it. Get rid of it. But oh my, the price you'll pay for altering it. Because that's something a doctor, surgeon cannot prepare you for. Because what did I tell you? Talk is cheap. You may get this, and this, and you might feel like this, and this, but it ain't nothing like going through the motion, is it not? Because what do we say? Seeing is believing. And once the deed is done, you can't go back. No do-over. Kind of like life. This is it. No dress rehearsal. No repeat. No repeat of that, you see. I was in the moment, enjoying the moment. So whatever happened in that moment, it is what it is. Now, can I try to do it again? Of course. But I can't get back what happened last night. So it's the same, you altering things that God gave you. Or maybe quite worse. There's no do-over. It's never going to be a repeat. You're not going to have to live in the moment with what happens to your body parts. And also, if you never cross over to that arena of trying to alter the body part, just trying to identify with the opposite sex and live that life, that would have to be very difficult. Now, there are probably many people out here who are living this life and they're saying, I don't have a problem being a woman, dressing like a woman, identifying as a woman. Yet, they can only speak of what has not happened. But it doesn't mean that down the road, mischief might not knock at their door. And the one thing I'm seeing with this lifestyle is that many people are not pleased, specifically, allegedly, heterosexual men who we now know they're not heterosexual. They also have an identity crisis because they're attracted to men. And they don't want to admit to the world either that they are homosexual. So they're mad at the one dressed up like a woman, which makes no sense to me. I have yet to understand this phenomenon. Why you want a man dressed like a woman? I'm confused. Because it really don't make no sense. You're still telling the universe you like the best of both worlds. He has a penis, but he's gotten pills to make him grow breasts. Not even biological breasts, just some type of hormone pill to poof, voila, make something grow in its place of a chest. Come on with it, Quay. It's a lie. You're all living a lie. So as I said, it would have to be just as heart-wrenching to want to be this woman or want to be this guy, but you can't because God didn't give you the tool to identify as the opposite sex. And you're walking around trying to perpetuate this living person you can never be. And who's to say that was not her journey? That she wanted to be a woman so badly, it was costing her. whichsoever and howsoever. That's why I said, was she dating someone? Something not working out? Did she meet somebody that found out she was biologically a man, assumed she was a man, said something out of the way? Maybe she liked somebody and they found out she was a man. I don't know. Don't know her story. But I know these stories never fare well with a lot of people trying to identify as the opposite sex, because in the end, it's facts and it's truth. You are not the man or you're not the woman. So that's going to be a problem. And I'm going to bring you now a story of why you should always live your truth. Because this story to me is probably just made up lies as well of a male who don't want to admit that he's a homosexual, bisexual, and he was attracted to a man who he knew was a man but dressed like a woman and wanted to have a reason to pop off and take this person's life. Because it's easier to say, I didn't know, I was assuming, I was suspicious, and then I just went ham. That's not good enough. Because you should know at some point that you are in the company of a man dressed up as a woman. Because all you had to do was just ask. Hi, I don't mean to disrespect you. Please don't get offended. But are you biologically a man? And then you wait for a response. And so we don't know what was said in this next story I'm going to bring you, because one's not here to say, yes, he asked me, was I a man? I said yes. And before I could explain myself, he shot me in the head. Did it kind of go like that? We will never know. Because a person, and this male, he'll probably lie until his last breath that he already knew it was a man. Probably met the person as a man. Went along with the flow, and maybe the person said something such as, I'll tell people. Maybe the person wasn't getting what they want. Because you got to go into the belly of the beast with this type of situation. How long did they know each other? How long did they date? How long did they talk? How long did they text? What type of sexual acts were performed for him to become suspicious? Prayers to Serenity Birdsong's family, the school, classmates, friends, and anyone that is thinking of harming himself or herself. Please reach out to your local mental health professional. You are welcome to call 911. They will send an ambulance and a fire truck to your location to get you help, admit you to a hospital or some type of facility, and just be honest with them and tell them what you are going through. But please don't take your life, because life is worth living, no matter how hard it may seem. Whatever it is that you're going through, transitioning, childbearing, rearing children, relationships, courtships, friendships, situations where there's no longer a friendship, courtship, divorce, marriage, separation, jilted, ghosted, all the horrible things that go on between a man and a woman and a, same sex. There is life after darkness, betrayal. You need to know that. Don't throw in the towel. Don't give the devil what he wants, because he's a user and he's a liar and he's a thief. And he will tell that little mind anything to get you off course and lead you into the abyss. Don't give him what he wants. Let's go to the next content, everybody. Mercy me. This story is coming out of Minnesota. What's the truth? I do not know. But we're going to chop it all up as well. One thing I've learned about this life, people will tell you anything. It's just a matter of, do you believe it? Do you believe it? Friends and family believe this was a hate crime against this said person. And this person was sentenced, the perpetrator was sentenced a month ago to 30 years incarceration for the murder of this trans woman's life. NBC News is the source. Thank you.
But something I always remember she told me is to never say goodbye to say see you later. Surrounded by family, politicians, and activists, Gabrielle and Kelly Stillday speak on the loss of their sister, Savannah Williams.
There's no good that comes from homicide. Savannah was a beautiful soul, kind, loving.
Savannah's life suddenly ended in November last year, and now her convicted killer is sentenced. Damarion Bible was sentenced Wednesday to 30 and a half years in prison, the state max for intentional second-degree murder.
His actions have forever stained our lives with grief.
Damarion reportedly confessed after investigators found surveillance video of him near the South Minneapolis scene. According to the criminal complaint, the 25-year-old told police he began to feel suspicious during a sexual encounter with Savannah and that he shot her in the head.
It shows you Savannah was a magnet. She pulled everyone towards her, including the defendant.
Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty says the case did not fit the legal standard to be charged as a hate crime, but says that doesn't mean hate was absent that fall morning.
The fact that we could not charge this as a bias crime does not change the impact that this crime has had on making our trans community feel less safe.
She says nationally, 85% of transgender people killed between 2021 and 2022 were people of color.
I am Savannah. You know, I'm a trans person of color, and I face those discriminations.
Savannah's family plans to hold a one-year memorial event on November 29th and says all are welcome to come. Kaya Edwards, KARE 11 News.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated.
NBC News is the source. So the family, as I said before, feels as though this was a hate crime. Do you agree or disagree that this young man exacted a hate crime against this trans person? NBC News is my second source.
Time at the Aliveness Project.
Trans-centered spaces make me feel recognized.
It's where transgender women can go to feel safe.
That we're building a sisterhood.
When there is so much uncertainty when they step outside.
She attended tea time and she was just full of life.
Savannah Ryan Williams would go to this support group.
I'm here because nobody deserves to die this way.
Court documents say 25-year-old Damarion Kaylin Bible admitted to shooting Williams in the head. He told police she approached him for a sexual encounter, but he began to feel, quote, suspicious after the act and shot and killed her. Bible confessed after police found surveillance video of him at the scene near the Lake Street light rail station.
So that's what this is.
Wow. So this was outside.
Says while in jail, Bible told his dad he just murdered someone and he felt sorry for killing the victim and knew he wasn't God, but he, quote, had to do it.
We have a right to life. Savannah had a right to live. It should be alive. There is no other detail that matters. Being murdered in the way that this happened, it is beyond gruesome and ghastly.
State Representative Lee Finke used to go to tea time. She shares feelings of anxiety with the women here.
It needs to stop. We can't just walk. We have to be able to walk in public and not just be constantly looking over our shoulder.
They say there's fear when they're outside. Here, they'll comfort one another.
We are people at the end of the day. And we are humans just like everybody else.
Well.
Thanks for watching.
We are humans like everyone else. Mercy. Let's see what we can get as far as information on this said crime. This is a little more detailed. Outside near a railroad station. So the crime took place outside, obviously. He met the victim outside. So now you got to ask the obvious questions. Well, what were you all doing outside? What was the victim doing outside approaching him for sex? Was the victim a sex worker working the street? Because that doesn't make any sense. You're just going to walk up to somebody and ask them, what? Do they want to date? That's something a street worker would do. So was the victim a street worker? Make it make sense. Because it doesn't add up. That you would want to ask a person unless you're working. You're working girl, working guy. Damarion Kaylin Bible fatally shot Savannah Ryan Williams, trans woman who was well known in the Minneapolis area in November. This content was uploaded September 12, 2024. Minneapolis man sentenced to more than 3 decades in prison for killing a transgender woman in November, though prosecutors said they couldn't prove the crime was bias motivated. So is it because he didn't know her, she didn't know him? He assumed it was a woman approaching him for sex. He decided to ride the ride. So what happened? They had what type of sex? Oral sex. She performed oral sex on him. And then maybe he said, hey, I want to do something else. And she said no, because she didn't want him to know that he had a penis. And that's when maybe he thought, okay, wait a minute. You don't want me to touch you down there. You don't want me to feel what? All right, something ain't right. Are you a man? And then poof, he popped off, pulled out the gun, shot her. So then you got to ask, well, where were they having this oral sex? Because I'm assuming it's oral sex. It's either oral or anal. Take your pick, or both. And he still was wondering, well, why are you covering yourself? Why are you covering your front? It's got to go something like that. I'm just saying. Let's continue this wild story. Once again, DA couldn't prove bias motivated. Hennepin County judge in Minnesota sentenced Damarion Kaylin Bible, 25, to 367 months or nearly 31 years in prison for second-degree murder after he fatally shot Savannah Ryan Williams, 38-year-old trans woman who was well known among the local trans community. So how was she well known? Was she an activist helping people in the community that were trans, community service? How was she well known? Just asking. The senseless act of violence against a Native and Cuban transgender woman has left a family without a daughter, partner, without their person, and a community without the vibrant light that Savannah uniquely brought to every room she was in. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty said in a news conference after the sentencing, Savannah deserved safety, quote unquote. Bible told police that he shot Williams following a sex act because he felt suspicious about her. After a thorough investigation, Moriarty said her office could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the crime was bias motivated, but added that still hate could have been a factor. Basically, this is just repeating what I've already played in the audio. The fact we could not charge this as a bias crime does not change the impact that the crime had on making our trans community feel less safe, Moriarty said, according to CARE. Across the country and in our community, hateful acts of violence against transgender people are on the rise. Every time a trans person is attacked, the entire community feels less safe. Moriarty said Williams' murder is part of a trend of escalating violence against trans people, particularly trans people of color, in recent years. And you've heard this a lot in commentary pertaining to the homicides of transgender persons, that it is more prevalent that colored people, or whichever nationality of the brown brother, sister is unalive, mainly brown brothers are unalived. Very sad. Once again, escalating violence against trans people, particularly trans people of color. In recent years, trans people are 4 times more likely than cisgender people to be the victims of violent crimes, according to a 2021 report from the Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law. So isn't that interesting? Trans people are more likely, I guess, than what? Heterosexual women, because they identify us as cisgender, which a lot of women don't like that terminology. We've heard this from Black women speaking. Don't call me cis. Just going to throw that out there. This is a frank commentary channel. And I agree. Don't call me cis. My name is Angela. Point blank. Don't give us a title, because gay people don't like being given titles. You all decided to give yourselves these titles with this, trans, this, that. That's your choice. But heterosexual women don't want to be called cisgender. Just don't like it. Once again, transgender people are on the rise. The violence against them. Every time a trans person is attacked, the entire community feels less safe. Moriarty said Williams' murder is part of a trend of escalating violence against trans people. Once again, I was repeating that. Trans people of color in recent years. 2021 report, UCLA School of Law are 4 times more likely than cisgender people being a victim. Interesting. Since 2013, the Human Rights Campaign, National LGBTQ Rights Group, has identified 335 trans and gender non-conforming people who were violently killed, and 85% of them were trans people of color. It's a lot. So far this year, at least 25 trans and gender expansive people have been violently killed, according to the HRC. So this year alone, and we're already coming out this year, November will be tomorrow, November 1st, 25 said people. And that's just including, I guess, those who were found deceased. It's not probably found, not counting those who might be trans and missing. Kim Stillday Williams' mother described her daughter as her best friend. Savannah still lives on, she said, through tears in a victim impact statement during the sentencing hearing. The Minnesota Star Tribune reported, her memory makes us laugh and smile. Gabrielle Stillday, one of Williams' sisters, said she never got to say goodbye to her sister, but something I always remember she told me was to never say goodbye, to say see you later. Stillday said at a news conference, according to CARE, and we hear a lot of people saying that, don't ever say goodbye to a person when they are leaving, because it might just be the last time you see or speak to that person. And I agree with that. Williams' older sister, Kelly Stillday, said Bible's actions have forever stained our lives with grief, CARE reported. It shows you Savannah was a magnet. Kelly Stillday said she pulled everyone towards her, including the defendant. Wow. Yeah, but that was pulled in a wrong type of way, because I believe this was an act of possible prostitution. So I don't know if I would compare that as her pulling you all as a magnet. You know what I'm saying? Family and friends, associates. But anywho, Bible briefly addressed Williams' family during Wednesday hearing. Minnesota Public Radio reported, I completely apologize, Bible said. I feel like I do need to sit down and do some time. Minnesota State Rep Lee Fink, the first trans person elected to the state's legislature, said the governing body's queer caucus would continue to do everything in our power at the Capitol to solve the crisis of violence against trans people. Savannah Ryan Williams was a beloved member of the trans and the two-spirited community, and she should be alive today, Fink said. According to CARE, the data is clear that trans people, especially trans people of color, suffer violence at rates far greater than our cisgender neighbors. Woo! Just got a notification. Jennifer Lopez reportedly leaves autograph signing after being questioned about Diddy allegations. Well, now, this commentary pertaining to this victim, it's Ryan. It's by NBCnews.com. Please feel free to go to my community board to re-listen and watch the commentary by video. Hello, Black. Thank you for joining me. I've given my opinion on this network, how I feel about transgender persons. I just don't care for anyone dressing up, and I say pretend because that's the only word I can use in my mind. Pretend, identify, however, as the opposite sex. I think it's dangerous for the obvious reason of this story I'm bringing to you right now. Here's a young Black man who obviously was approached by this transgender person, or he approached her. As I said, you're never going to get the truth because one person's dead and they're not here to give their side. So all you have is what he told in court and what surveillance cameras reveal. He was at the scene, which shows you this wasn't a house, this wasn't an apartment, this wasn't a cabin, wasn't an Airbnb. This makes me believe they were either walking by each other, somebody's getting off a bus, train, cab, or something, and somebody looked at the other one and said something to the other one. So either he said something to her or she said something to him. they decided to go do something wherever, and it had to be in public. I didn't hear that it was in a car. So where did the act take place? See, this is crazy to me. It's dangerous, one, to go hook up with a person anywhere. You risk your safety. And as I said, we all have lived, but you take a chance on bringing someone back to your home, hotel, wherever you are. That's first and foremost. Now, you are identifying as the opposite sex, but you haven't told people that you're interested in or date, pay date, whatever, that you are a man. So imagine, as I said, no matter where you go, the person looks up and suspects or sees a penis, you now have a whole problem. You have a whole problem. And so, as I said, I'm not here to speak on who said what, because I don't even think it would matter at this point. One's dead, one's incarcerated. He admits he needs to go to prison. As you heard his commentary, he talks like a child. He talks like a young person, don't know how to talk. Yeah, I need to go sit down and do some time. Well, you're going to go sit down and do some time. You're going to go sit down and do 30 years of time unless somebody decides to parole you. Has he been in trouble before? Broken the law? Troublemaker? Convicted felon? Misdemeanors? Don't know. Is he gay? Let's start with the obvious question. Is this young man Damarion Kalen Bible, 25, a gay man or a man on the down low? That's first and foremost. Who said what to whom first on this public street? Where did they go to have the sexual act? What's the act? Anal, oral, both? Is it when they were doing the act, he realized, okay, there's a penis here? Because if he's doing anal sex, I think you're going to use deduction. Because aren't you going to want to feel the person, grab on their breasts, their front part, and go, ooh, that ain't a girl. She ain't got no, sugar mama. She's got a bob down there. I'd say that would be, as we would say in the street, smoke in the city. See, it was a recipe for disaster to be approached or approaching someone on the street. As I said, shit can jump off no matter where you meet people. School, work, bar, club, and you don't know them. Okay? Now, factor in, this is what I would say a transaction in a public place. You already know it's a recipe for disaster. One could be trying to rob the other one, set the person up for robbery. You don't know. We've heard of that. Online dates gone terribly wrong. Guys showing up to women's apartments and then they're robbed, going into an empty place or going into a place where they're ganged by other guys or put in a car, taken to be disposed of. Case happened in Memphis. Guy was able to jump out of the trunk, run for help, run to safety. He was lucky. But this is a recipe for disaster. Solicitation, prostitution, because I'm assuming that's where this is going. And that's one thing I don't hear anybody saying in any of the commentary I played, that she was a sex worker. Because why are these two people having sex out in the open? Because I don't hear that it happened in a car. So somebody's leaving something out in this story. And a lot of times they do this because they don't want to make a person look bad. But it's already bad. She's dead. So transparency needs to be revealed so others can learn from the tragedy. You can't learn from something if you are giving a half-baked story. Everybody knows how I rock on this network. Give me the business. Because I can't send the message out to the universe without having some type of transparency, some type of truth. So even now, after death, you can see there's sugarcoating. Yeah, I said that. Because the story is not really talking in layman's terms. Bob met Bob on 15th Street and they went behind an alley, a building, a car, a van. See where I'm going? Tell it all. Because this is a cautionary tale. So tell it all. Now, maybe it was more telling in court what he did, because I can't see how you would leave all this out if you're in court and your lawyer trying to defend you on why you took the life of this male identifying as a female. You're going to have to set it up. Explain how you met. What was the conversation? Was this over money? Was there transaction? Did you give her money? Did you speak to her first? She spoke to you first. See, you got to lay it out. So this is where I have a problem. I'm not really getting the 411. So I got to assume, and I don't really like doing that. But either way, there's a dead person in the story. District attorney did not charge him with a hate crime. How do you all feel about that? I will put a poll up pertaining to this case. Matter of fact, I'll do it now as I speak. Thank you for joining me. Wow, wow, wow. Damarion Kaylin Bible. DA says it was not a hate crime. Some will disagree. Well, he shot her because she was a man. But then the flip side of it is the commentary brought you said she was well known. So one would wonder if she's walking around, did he know that she was a he? Attracted to the he. As the family says, she was a magnet even to him, which is a scary thing to even say. Because we don't know if he knew her before, met her before, targeted her. See, we don't know. I ask all the questions. I don't like to leave a stone unturned. So, see if I can get this information out to Marion. Can write the whole name. Commit a hate crime. Very strange information. I'll just go by Miss Ryan for now to remember the first name. You have a few options. Yes. No. Not sure. "20 people viewing. Thank you for your time." Now we're going to ask, did he know she was a man? His trans victim okay. Let's say initially. You have to be specific in your wordings. Did Damarion Bible initially know that his trans victim was a man? Okay. Yes. No. Not sure. We'll put sought her out. Hold on a minute. This wording is not good. Let's see. Know that his victim was a man. I guess it's the same thing. Because if you knew it was a man and you killed him for that, then it'd be the same. I'll just put that slash. Three options. Yes, no, not sure. Ooh, mercy. As I said before, I'm all for people living how they choose to live. But one thing I'm seeing in a lot of these stories of these trans persons being unalived is that the notion, because all you have is the one side of the coin, which is the perpetrator's version, they were lied to. Now, some of these instances, I don't believe that. Let me just make that clear. I don't believe in every instance, what am I trying to say? They didn't know it was a man. Because depending on where they met the person, if it was a site, a website, just for that, then it's a guy, if that's what you're seeking out. But as far as meeting the person online on a date site, or you met him at a club, you don't actually have to know the truth that the person is a biological male until you get down to the business of disrobing. And then you pop off. But the assumption would be either way. You popped off, took the life, battered the person if they didn't die, or you could just walk away. See, it depends on the person. Because you got some people who say, oh yeah, they deserve to get beat up. They deserve to get hurt. They're lying. They're using people. They're manipulating people. Then somebody will say, well, that's not the right thing to do. People get lied to all the time. Then somebody might say, well, that's not the same thing. A lie about this and lying about your sexuality is totally different. See, everything's about interpretation. But I'm saying personally from Queen, you don't have to agree with me. Don't really care. I don't advise it for the reason I'm sharing the story. A multitude of things can go wrong when you are, one, living a lie, two, the other person's living a lie. Morally, God don't like same-sex mixing. So one could say there's going to be some retribution just because of that, whether you believe in God or not. It ain't good. It just ain't good. And we've seen it where the guys knew that the woman is not a woman, okay? And obviously something was said in conversation and now there's a pop off. Or somebody then went and told somebody about the person. As I saw a story the other day, I was going to bring it to you and I meant to bring it to you. I've gotten sidetracked with talking about this old P. Diddy stuff, which I'm tired of talking about that because it's just becoming useless at this point. A woman, trans person, was murdered by a gang member who was sent there to kill her because another gang member was outed and found out that he had been messing with the trans person. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So the first thing I said, well, what happened to him? Because I can't see that they're going to give him a pass. He's representing a gang and he's bisexual. Come on with it, Queen. Woo! I got touchy, did I not? That's Queen. You're going to kill the trans person, but you don't kill the gang member. He's violated. Each gang got its own stipulations of what you're supposed to do, not do. You're not supposed to harm children, women. That's usually the code. But we're dealing with young people now. I don't even know that there's even a code. Now, I remember hearing a story a few years back about, it was a white dude. He was in a gang, and he was messing around with a trans person. And they got back that he was gay, bisexual. So he went and had a little date, shall we call it a date, or a date with death. And he unalived the trans person. Because people started gossiping. My. So see, that's what's more baffling besides however it goes down with the two people of the reason for the murder, the motivation for the murder, it's the fact that we have men walking around that get down with other men. That's the damn problem. The mindset is the issue. So as we get all these people wanting to rally for rights of trans people, gay people, suicidal people, you got to try to talk to the people who are out here picking up people who they don't want nobody to know that they're just like them. They just ain't dressing in a damn dress. That's your issue. It's the down low brother, black, white, Hispanic. He don't want nobody to know he likes men. So that's where your violence comes into the picture. Yeah, I'm going to go on and have sex with this person, but I don't want nobody to know. He better not ever tell, or there's going to be consequence. And even when I talk to you all about this content, I've been talking to you as of late with these entertainers messing with men and boys. First thing I say to myself, well, damn. You keep hearing more men coming out of the closet, more men won't identify as women. How many fucking men are actually bisexual? Because that's a scary thing, to be walking around liking and being attracted to a man, and he likes a man. Oh yeah, this ain't gonna work. I keep thinking back all the times I tell a relative, oh, I want to go to Georgia, I want to go to Georgia. All the videos I watched on YouTube of women sharing their experiences of down low men in Georgia. One YouTuber sharing his experiences, you know, dealing with men, married men, men coming on to him. He's a gay man down in Atlanta. And just listening to all these random ass stories over the years, it's frightening to think you're going to be dating and coinciding and sharing your life and your body with a man, but deep down, he likes a man too. Oh, hell no. This is a problem. So when we talk about the transgendered homicides, we've got to address the other people as well, because it's a two-way street. They didn't get dead by falling into a manhole. And excuse my terminology. They didn't fall into a river, a lake. Somebody snuffed them out. So our problem is a two-way street, because it takes two to tango. And see, anybody with sense should know there's going to be repercussions of your lifestyle. It's just the way it is. I don't care if it's a woman and man, man on man, woman on woman, because there are many homosexual women who have lots of issues as well. As far as homicides and violence. But if you are not living your truth as a man, that's going to be a problem right there. You're pretending to only like women, but you really don't. You like both, or you perpetrating and using women, but you like men. See, how is something good going to come your way? It ain't. Now you a man dressed up like a woman and don't want to tell men that you are a man. That's going to be a problem. So when you mix the two, they're both living a lie. Come on with it, Queen. And even if you told the truth, oh yeah, I'm a trans person, I am biologically a man, I thought I'd let you know, you're still risking your life to get banged up on the spot. Bingo card. What do they say? You damned if you do, you damned if you don't. Exactly. Because some will say, well, it's the universe telling you you're living a lie anyway. Rather, you're telling the truth. Because you're not supposed to be a man walking around dressed up like a woman. You're entitled to your opinion. Some agree, some disagree. I frankly don't agree with a man walking around looking like a woman, emulating what is expected to be a woman, let me say. We see a lot of musicians wearing makeup. You see this a lot in Hollywood. White men wearing eyeliner, fingernail polish, the grunge goth look. Some will say that ain't appealing. Entitled to your opinion. But hell yeah, you start wearing bright ass fingernail polish, folks gonna start looking at you some type of way. The hell wrong with you, bruh? Why you wearing that bright ass fingernail polish? Because one could say even if you're wearing the black polish, still it's unbecoming. My opinion. Possibly opinion of others as well. But I don't condone men dressing as women. I don't. I never will condone it. It's not cute. It's not funny to me. Because when you dress up as a woman, you're expecting something in return. Are you not? Come on with it, Queen. They ain't ready for this conversation. Hold on 1 second, everybody. I'm going to take a brief intermission. Thank you for your time. 1 moment, please. Thank you for your patience. As I was saying, expectations. Now, some of you are going to say, now, Queen, where are you going with this? Where do you think I'm going? You're living a life as something that you're not, but you're expecting something, are you not? You're expecting to be treated accordingly. And we as women can tell you, we don't get treated accordingly. Checkmate. We don't get treated well by men. So how in the hell do you think you want to get treated well by a man and you're a man? Oh, shit. You weren't ready for that, were you? We don't get any respect. We don't get favored, pampered, put on pedestals. We're dogged out every damn day by men. And you think you're going to be a man dressed as a woman and garner respect? Oh, honey, no. What do they say? It's the nature of the beast. Indeed, it is. So you're trying to go into a world that don't belong to you. You see, and it's no disrespect, but it's truth. You're not a woman. So you're expecting something to be given to you that one can say you don't deserve because one is not natural. And I'm going to say this as no reflection of murder or homicide, because nobody has a right to just kill a person because they said something or they lied to you about their sex. Then you just walk away. Be the bigger person, walk away. It's not even worth doing 30 years of life or whatever because somebody didn't identify and tell you the truth. Just say, okay, you got me. But it ain't worth, dying in a prison, growing old in a prison. But we know people will pop off and men will pop off because they feel shame. And people do a lot of things when they're ashamed. Come on now. That's the ultimate shame, is it not? To be engaged in a sex act with somebody and you thought it was a woman and it was not. But let's scratch murder and just talk about the logistics of you wanting to be treated as a woman, but you're not a woman biologically. It's not going to work. You want to be treated as a human being first and foremost, because that's what you are, is a human. So I get that point. Treat me like a human, but you don't want just that. Come on now, let's be real. You don't want to be just treated as a human. Hey, treat me with respect because I'm alive. You want me to also, and others, to treat you like a woman. Woman, human, woman. But see, that's where there's the problem. And that's where the hate, animosity comes in. You're perpetrating like you are a she, but you're not, and you expect respect. It doesn't work that way. Because there's people who just don't agree with men being with men, women being with women, crossing over, sometimes with this one, sometimes with that one, whatsoever. But then when you start talking about identifying as, oh, hell no. Now we're in a whole nother playing field. Just like you can't go around being Bob for 40 years and then one day come out in a dress and then tell somebody, well, call me Susie. And then get mad because somebody don't want to address you as a she and a her and a Susan. Checkmate. It doesn't work that way. And you don't have the right to get angry. Because if I've known you as Bob, that's all I know you as. Now, do people conform and start calling you different names, Susan, she, her, pronouns, if they can remember? If they can remember. But there's people who actually get angry. I want to be a she. I want to be a she. I am a she. Oh, someone said the audacity. You get an attitude and you're demanding. We've had that issue here at the University of Tennessee years ago. Children worrying about being called certain pronouns. You don't have a right to be worrying about a fucking pronoun. You're supposed to be going to school to get education. Yeah, I'm going to take you out of school today because somebody needs to hear what the queen is saying. You don't have to like it. It's my channel. You're supposed to be going to school to get education when you're worrying about a damn pronoun. See, that's the problem right there. Your priorities are fucked up. God has blessed you to go to school, and that's all you're concerned with is a pronoun. You need to check yourself. Because if that's all you're worrying about in your early life, 18, 19, what you gonna do when you get to the street and gotta live, and then you decide you want to cross over, and now Bob wants to be Susan? Woo! Come on with it, Queen. They ain't ready. Your feelings hurt over a pronoun. You really gonna be hurt if somebody decide they want to chase your ass home from a bar or your job, or you walking down a lonely street and they realize that's a man dressed up in that dress. Let's play some funny games tonight. That's what I'm trying to make somebody out there understand. That this really ain't the life you think you want. Because it wasn't designed that way. And as I said, I don't wish murder on anyone. Being accosted, stalked, belittled, battered, abused, tortured, bullied. But you see, that's what comes with the territory of this transgender life. That there are going to be some cruel people who don't agree with your lifestyle in general. Do they have the right to bother you, harass you? Of course not. Nobody has the right to bully and harass anybody, put their hands on anybody. But it comes with a cost, obviously. And as I said, there are probably some transgender people who don't have horror stories to tell. They don't live in fear. Some may do, some may not. Everybody's journey is different. What I'm trying to make you understand is that you are trying to be something you're not, and common sense should tell you no matter who you are, that will come with a cost. I don't care who you are, whether you're heterosexual, you're trying to do something and be something that you're not, you should know there are going to be ramifications. That's just life. And you trying to be a woman, trying to be a man, come on now. You telling people to call you a he, but you're not a he. You're changing your name. God forbid you're doing it legally. Now you're going up to people who know you, telling them, well, you now call me this. And they're looking at you like, well, wait a minute, I don't know you as that. Mary, I don't know you as Mark. See where I'm going? I know you as Mary. Well, call me Mark from now on. Oh, okay. Well, I'll work on that. They may choose to, they may not. But are you going to walk around holding a grudge? Because now nobody's calling you Mark. Okay? So that's the point I'm trying to make in this video, is that there are going to be ramifications for trying to live a life that was not originally designed for you. It's just the way it is. Because we can, perpetrate who we are and pretend we're this or that, because everything's about perception, you understand? But when you're talking about trying to change the sex, that's just not the same as, well, he thinks he's all that, or he's trying to be an astronaut, but really he's the garbage man. You see where I'm going? They're not the same. They're totally not the same. You know your ass can't fly. You ain't a bird, you're a human. You see where I'm going? You're not a fairy, you're a human. You're not a mermaid, you're a human. Pretending that you're a millionaire or a CEO of a corporation when you know that's not your title, you don't have the credentials, you see where I'm going. The lies will find you out. And it may come with a cost, at a cost. Because the lies do usually find you out. It's just life. So when you're talking about sexuality, that's a hell of a gamble to pay. Do you agree? Is it worth your life? Gambling with your life? And then you also have to worry about your salvation. Do you believe in God? As my pastor once said, the Bible only speaks of homosexuality about what, 2 times perhaps in the Bible? That's true. So he don't go on and on and on. But he talks about sin in general. The wage of sin is death. And I mean, that's about as literal as you're going to get. The wage of sin is death. So we can commit all types of sins because God knows there's so many of them. They don't have anything to do with sexuality. But these are God's ways, his laws. You either like it or you don't. But what I'm saying is when you're not living your truth, whether you are gay, bisexual, trans, it's going to come with a cost. So if you're using any type of deception towards another human being, no matter your sexuality, whether you're same sex, opposite sex, if you're not living your truth, you're not being truthful, you are sending a message to the universe that you want a problem, point blank. So whether you're a man lying to a woman about something, you're a woman lying to a man, you're a woman lying to a woman, you're a man lying to a man, you should know there will be retribution. Because you are deceiving a person, whatever the deception may be. And as you heard in the commentary, more colored people of color, I don't like to use the word color, brown people are having issues, dying by the hands of another. And like I said, whatever went on behind closed doors or the space that the crime took place, you only have the one version. Because it ain't even a he said and a he said when one's dead. You got the perpetrator giving his version. Well, he lied. He said this. He said he's a woman. I found he wasn't. Poof, I popped him. Or he said he gonna tell people I've been messing with him. We've heard a lot of that. Or I've been messing with him and this and that, and I didn't know he was a man. Case in Virginia, football player kills the white man. That's the most bizarre case I've ever seen. He beat that white man to where he was not even recognizable, number one. Number two, they had some type of meetup before. How did he not know it was a man? Ding, ding, ding. His family didn't know he dressed up like a woman. Wow. The plot thickens. But the fact that the court could prove this black boy had been in this white man's house before, that's a problem. Because what they're saying to themselves, we got text messages where you've been in the man's home. So this was not a one-time encounter where something fell out, poked out, and you said, damn, that's a man. Oh shit, I've been hoodwinked and bamboozled. And you popped off. You've been there before. So you can't even say, oh, I found out on this first time he was a guy and I ran out or I beat him up and I left. You had been there before. So that means you all had some type of interaction, either conversation or sexual. So nobody was going to believe when you went back the second time, you didn't know that that was a man. And see, the crazy part of that story is perhaps the white man identified himself either as a trans person or dressed up like a woman on the date site, and the black guy thought that was a white woman. I don't know. It's been a while since I brought that content. But I'm just throwing out scenarios of how things can go terribly wrong. Such as the other case out of Texas, black boy dating another black guy who's dressed up as a woman, and he knew this was a man. Roommate attests, oh, he's been over here several times, and he knows that's a man underneath those women's clothes. But they had some type of rift, altercation, where I believe the trans person said, I'm going to tell everybody on the campus, you've been sleeping with a boy. Allegedly. And him didn't like that. And naturally, him perpetrating as a heterosexual young man, and the stigma here in the African American community, to some, that's a faux pas, man and a man. He decided death was the option. I'm going to knock him off. He can't go out and tell people I'm a homosexual. What's going to happen to me? People think I like women. So he met with her, lured her, whatever, shot her in her car. Car hit a pole. She died. Nice looking black guy. When I saw the pictures of him, I said, Lord have mercy, you got to be kidding me. This fine looking black man like men? Mm-hmm. Is that usually how it is? The fine ones, fine as hell, like men. Stay woke. So see, the deception starts young. You willing to kill a man because you don't want nobody to know you like men. Although it was a man dressed up like a woman, still a man. And you killed that man because you did not want your secret out. And I think a lot of times with these homicides, that is the motive. The male did not want the world to know he desires sex with a male. Now, you do have men who claim to be heterosexual when they're walking around with trans women. You know damn well you're not a heterosexual man because it can't be both, because God didn't bless a woman with a penis and breasts unless they were born with two body parts at birth. But those are the lies that your head will tell you. That's why I said the mind is a fragile object, entity, because the mind will lie to you and say, you are a man, you are a straight man, but you just like penis. Either penetrating or having it, fellatio by a man, but that's still desiring a man. That makes no sense. Why would you desire a man giving you oral sex? That doesn't even make sense. Never heard of such. Well, why a woman can't do it? Because you don't like women. Or you like both. then say you like both. Why hide it? Because you may risk your life one day being with a woman and a man, and a woman finds out you've been messing with a man and she decides to take your life. It's the same game. Before I check out of here, I'm going to share something with you. A story, true story. God knows Queen has so many stories, does she not? There's a man I know. He's about 60 years of age, and he's been a known crack user for many years, and probably still uses crack. Years ago, we had a conversation, and he basically just admitted, I like using crack. I probably will never stop. Okay, your choice. But where I find it interesting, besides you want to admit that you still want to use cocaine, knowing cocaine kills, eventually causes heart problems, that's your business. But the fact that you said, oh yeah, I'll let a man suck my penis. He think I'm just going to give him the crack for free. I want you to think about what I just said now. I bet everybody's like, woo, Queen took us to church today. Oh yeah. This might be the part of the church that the pastor would say, this ain't allowed in Sunday school class, but you see where I'm going. You admit you like getting high still. You admit that basically you are gay, bisexual, whatsoever. You do have some feminine tendencies. We've noticed this for years. But you also tell us in this conversation to Queen that if a man wants to get high with you, he ain't going to do it for free. He's got to pay the piper, literally. He's got to suck your private part to get high with you. Why is that? I was floored, shocked, because I'd heard the rumors that he got down with men. Naturally, I never saw him with a man, of course, because you know what people do behind closed doors. You're not going to see that. But I believe the rumors. Why would I not? Because he did acts feminine to some degree. Of course, he walks around in masculine clothes, but as we have learned, that don't mean nothing. He has lots of children. That means he also liked the kitty cat at some point. I've seen him date a woman many years ago. That didn't work out. Let him tell it. The girl was crazy. But you see where I'm going with this story. The point is he likes men too. And what do we learn about homosexuality? That the deviant behavior weighs higher. That the preference, is what I've heard, you really like men more than women. Checkmate. And I think I believe that. That the deviant behavior weighs higher. It will always weigh higher. That they'll hide with the women. Hide with the men, rather. Walk around with the women, perpetrating they like women, but really they prefer the penis. And I won't doubt that many men who've gotten high with him, they gave him oral sex. And I won't doubt that he probably was a bottom too. Because what's the point? There's always going to be a man giving you what they would say head, but you ain't going to never, penetrate the guy? You're not going to let the guy penetrate you? It's just going to be oral sex? I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I'm a lot of things, but a dodo bird I'm not. Because we are human beings. First and foremost. And I think we all know, those of us who have been intimate with individuals, if you partake in oral sex first, let's say, what does it usually lead to after that act? Exactly. Full body sex. So men can't do what they do with women because she has a front opening and a back opening. But a man has a back opening, and I'm not going to sit here and believe after you have gotten aroused by just oral sex, you ain't wanting to penetrate the man, or he do you, or you both take turns. You see where I'm going? But I found that conversation very interesting with this male who's a little bit older than the queen. And I'm going to say this on the live stream. I lost all respect for him because he finally admitted it. And I guess someone would say, well, Queen, you already suspected that he was gay. Why would you get offended? It was just the way he said it. And the fact that he said it when it wasn't warranted. I guess that's why I was offended. Because one, I never asked him about his sexual self. That's first and foremost. So why even reveal to me what you preferred during the commencement of getting high? The fact that you're talking about getting high when I'm not a user, what was the point? You wanted the world to know you still like getting high, you enjoy getting high on crack cocaine, and also having your penis you know what I mean. Why are you telling me any of it? That's my point. So yes, I lost respect for that person. And I have never looked at him the same since. Because I felt like the conversation had no bearing on anything. It just made me look at you differently. That you, one, don't care about yourself. Come on with it, Queen. That one, you don't have respect for yourself, that you felt like it was okay to tell me something that was none of my business and that I didn't ask for. The fact that you think it's okay to still be getting high on drugs and you're an older person. And I also be engaging in homosexual activity. And then one minute you also liking a woman and having sex with her and probably wasn't even using a condom with her. Hell yeah, I had a problem with your ass and still do. And I don't look at him the same, and I never will. Do I hate the person? No, but I don't look at you as I did before. Even with assuming you like men and heard nasty stories of you messing with men. It's still disgusting. You geeking and you messing with men. And we've heard also that many men turn while being drug users. Now, some will argue, oh, well, that means they were always that way. Could be. But that's the thing about the drugs. We could talk about that on another live. That drugs will make you more impulsive to do other things to get the drugs. So that's probably why he made that comment. Ain't nobody gonna get high with me for free. They got to give me oral sex. But still somebody would say that you're still showing you a homosexual. So what is it that you're enlightening us on? And you probably got some straight men who would probably say the same. Well, he got to, suck my private part to get high with me, snort cocaine with me or whatever, smoke meth. But you're still telling on yourself. And that's the part of where I said the mind plays tricks on you. You trying to make yourself believe you actually like women, but the fuck you don't. Because that don't make no sense to even throw men into the equation with getting high. Women get high too, so what's your point? Then why don't you go find a woman to get high with? Bingo card. Say it again, Queen. If you like women and you a man, why not go find a woman to get high with? And you do the even exchange. Sex for sharing the crack pipe, the meth pipe, however it goes. Because in the end, you like men, you are gay, so you're going to be in the company of men. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be in the company of another gay man, bisexual man, and you're hoping something jumps off sexually in exchange with the getting high. Point blank. True story. In this live stream, I brought you information of a transgendered woman Tennessee. Why she chose to do it in a public place, I do not know. But she is no longer alive. Serenity Birdsong was her name. It's her name, excuse me. And she was 21 years of age. And she was a Caucasian male biologically who identified as a she female. when I get more information to a possible motive of why she unalived herself and at the school library, I will bring you that information. Condolences to family, schoolmates, the university, because naturally there were eyewitnesses to her unaliving herself. And that would have to be a horrific thing to witness, to hear a person unalive themselves in a public place and a place of learning. Don't know what she was going through, don't know her troubles, but she's no longer alive. Second part of this live, Minnesota man unalived transgender person, male identifying as a female. Obviously, they met out in public. He assumed it was a woman, allegedly. And once he assumed it was a male, he shot her in the head. And he just got a sentence last month of 30 years, 31 years in prison for second-degree murder. The district attorney does not believe it was a hate crime. And I guess with his testimony of how he met she publicly, I guess one time they didn't take it as he was out, I guess, targeting transgender persons. Now, allegedly, this person was well known in the community. How? I don't know. I didn't really get a lot of information from the audio I played and the article I read. But what I was wondering, if he targeted her, seen her out and about, what did she do for a living? What was she well known for in the community for people to know who she was? Was she active in the community? Community service? What was her job title? Did she work? What did he do for a living? And what the hell actually happened out on this street for these two to tangle up? Who said what to whom for Ms. Ryan to end up dead? Because this is a very baffling story, because this was not an alleged online date gone terribly wrong. Two people met somewhere out in public, like a bar, a restaurant. He thought it was a female. They get back to the apartment, hotel. She disrobes and he realized she is a he. Then he grabbed the gun and shot her. You understand what I'm saying? It appears that they were out in public and did the do in public, because I didn't hear that they went to a hotel or room. If so, I stand corrected. But they're saying they got evidence because they have CCTV footage of him being, I guess, in the scene or at the scene of the crime. So that sounds like this was in public. This is very weird, because I can't see this person being much older than him and wanting to have sex with him in public. Why not go back to your home or house where you live? So did it take place in a house or home or apartment? It just says he left the scene and they realized who he was, I guess, as I said, by video. So this sounded to me like something took place outside. That's my assertion. If I'm wrong, that's fine. As I have said before on this network, you need to be very careful of the company you keep. You do not know people. You do not know the hour, the minute that you're going to be in the wrong company of a friend, an associate, a neighbor, an acquaintance, a new date, old relationship, new relationship, where something goes terribly wrong. Many people have left here from jealousy, envy. Somebody couldn't move on. Somebody felt spited, wronged. People, unalive people for various reasons. This is why you need to live your truth. And you can still live your truth with a person and they still unalive you for whatever reason. That's the point of not knowing the hour or the minute that death will come knocking. So all you need to do is try to live your truth to the best of your ability and be very open about your feelings of who you are and where you stand. But as I said, there still can be a ramification for living your truth and telling your truth, because everyone is not mentally stable. And I pray that no one ends up in either situation that I have mentioned during this live stream. If you are thinking of harming yourself, please Call 911 and get yourself some help, or check yourself into a hospital. Seek a counselor. Seek somebody. Seek Jesus. He's always on the main line, and he will not fail you, and he won't leave you. 2, if you are a street worker, you need to be very careful identifying yourself as a female, and you are not. If you're going online, date sites, or just living as a she in general, if you're not going to live your truth, you are definitely going to have a problem or problems, because you don't know people. And you can easily be hurt, and it's not a sexual transaction or a dating scenario. We have mean people. And some people have insecurities about themselves, some men, and they probably are on the down low, have insecurities about their sexuality, and they can look at you as a mirror to who they really are. And they want to exact revenge. Once again, as I said, you don't know people. So please be careful of your blueprint. Where you walk, where you talk, how you represent yourself. Because many people have left here from their own conversations. Social media, broadcasting their business, other people's business. That's another thing. Outing people. They do a live stream on that as well. The dangers of outing people. I brought you commentary on that, of a young lady upstate who was unalive a day after outing 2 gay men who she saw engaging in oral sex in an apartment when she went back to pick up her keys, or her cell phone, and opened the door and was an eyewitness, threatened them both, asking for money, running back to her car, and next day, I believe she was gunned down on a public street. Now, one of those men is no longer alive. He was also murdered a year later. Imagine that. Retribution for her death? Possibly so. Oh, the webs we weave. As I said, you need to watch your blueprint. Because anybody can end up in any of these given situations that I just mentioned during this live stream. Because you don't know people. And you're putting your lives in the hands of others who are possibly not mentally stable, can be easily provoked. And you also could be easily provoked yourself in a given situation. That's why they always say, never say never. Never say what you won't do. Because I say it all the time. And in certain situations, I've put my own foot in my mouth saying what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't talk to this person again. I wouldn't. Hey, we've all done it. But you want to live your truth, because your word should be bond. And in the end, that's all you are worth, is your word. And if people cannot believe you, then who are they dealing with? They're dealing with a fraud. And you don't want to be labeled a fraud. Thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in to this live stream, double feature. Please check my community board for said updates and posts. Follow the Queen on the News Break app, where I also give commentary on breaking news. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeganG129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. I'm going to go to my community board and see if anyone voted on the said polls pertaining to Damarion and him unaliving this transgendered female. Only 5 people voted on the first question. Did Damarion Bible initially know that his trans victim was a man or saw her out? 60% says yes, 20% no, 20% not sure. 5 votes as well on the next question. Did Damarion Bible commit a hate crime against trans woman Miss Ryan? 80% yes, 0% no, 20% said they were not sure. Please go back to the beginning of this live to get the said updates pertaining to Young Thug Sean Puffy Combs, Gypsy Rose, Ken Urkel, and Ryan Anderson. I bring you commentary about them. It's a bit winded, so forgive me. I was trying to see what sentence Young Thug got, and I got a little frustrated with the audio because it was taking too long. The judge was talking, so I went and found an article, and basically did not give what his sentence will be, but he's decided to plead guilty to a plea deal, and his other co-conspirators also pled guilty in court, 3 others, and took a plea as well, and I brought you their sentencing as it relayed in court this week. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Mind the children. They are our future. You were once a child, and no child deserves to be untreated or neglected. Hello, Scholar. Thank you for joining me. Happy Halloween, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to check out of here. I hope you learned something from this live stream. If you are indeed someone wanting to self-harm and or identifying with the opposite sex, if that's a lifestyle you're trying to choose, just know that there are ramifications for trying to live the opposite sex, the trans life. Everything comes with a cost because being human comes at a cost. And it's just the way it is. You're not going to always be liked. You're not going to always be loved. And you're not going to always be respected. And nor will people respect and like your choices in life. But as I said, you need to know your blueprint. Live in your truth and be honest. Because what you don't want to be is labeled a fraud. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful weekend. You have been listening to The Vault Excel.